think we can kick off this webinar, and most of the users have been logged in, and we can proceed. Okay, so good morning, everyone. First of all, happy Friday. I hope you all had a good week. If it was a tough one, well, tomorrow's the weekend here in South Africa, so it'll be really good. And yeah, thank you for joining me for this webinar. It's going to be quite a fun one compared to normal 2D civil infrastructure design webinars that I normally host. Today we're going to be looking at presenting your designs brilliantly using Autodesk Infraworks, and it's going to be presented by myself, Shuaib Yunus. I'm a BIM technical specialist in mining and civil infrastructure here at Baker Baines, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is actually to present or to generate a pretty decent presentation on Infraworks. And of course, the more time that you allow for it, you can do some really awesome presentations. So let's jump into it. Okay, so let's look at what we're going to be doing today, or the structure of today's webinar. Of course, I always give an intro to whichever software I'm using, because we always have new users that are attending the webinars throughout the world. So it's really nice to see that. But we're going to look at Autodesk Infraworks. What is it exactly? What's it used for? And then, of course, I just put a quick snapshot in terms of what are the key features or main features that stand out. Of course, it's not all of them, but you can have a good look at that. And then, of course, we're gonna jump or dive right into the actual demo. I've created it or structured it in steps in terms of how we would utilize it in the working environment, because we all have deadlines, right? So I've given you a few options, which I hope you appreciate, and you will see it's actually not rocket science. It's quite easy to use. And then, of course, we are going to conclude, and my details will be at the end of the webinar. Okay, so let's look at Autodesk Infraworks. What is it? So first of all, the logo is a big I if you haven't seen it. But what it's usually used for, or what it started off being, is a conceptual design tool. So normally in consultancy or the design industry, we start off with a desktop study or feasibility study or a conceptual design. And that forms the basis of our informed, detailed, and final design if you have those type of steps. But Infraworks actually helps you to do it much more easier and quicker. Before, we had to actually use your generic tools like your AutoCADs, which was very demanding in terms of getting a concept across. Alternatively, the popular one used is Google Earth. I think everyone on here actually used it, where you will crop the region or save the image and draw some lines to indicate what you want to place on site. But time has evolved, and so has technology, and we've got some really better options, way better, and you're going to see that today. So this is going to help you to get or portray your design in a much more quicker, better, cooler, smarter way. And besides being a conceptual design tool, you can actually do multiple alternatives in one model. What I mean by that is, before if you had to give 10 options, you had to literally copy and paste or save as final one, final two. You can title it whatever you'd like, and then you either PDF all of those and send it, or whichever way you send it. In this case, you can actually have one model and derive 10 options from it, so it's one file, which is much more better to work towards. So design alternatives is a great thing. It also has a GIS engine, so it plugs in with Esri. So if you are a GIS user, you can actually log into ArcGIS Online and pull in the GIS data into here, link it to Civil 3D. I mean, it's gone really clever. All right, so that's one of the points. The next one is a dynamic interface. It's really cool that the software now, if we do any changes, it automatically updates, or you don't have to go and resync it, or from static to force update, those type of things. It's actually built in with intelligence. So if you change an alignment, the levels update, the cut and fill updates, the positioning updates automatically. So you don't have to actually go and worry about it. There is a way you can switch it off, but I strongly recommend it as a designer, or do not recommend it, sorry, as a designer. And it's very futuristic because you can pitch stuff, as you're going to see here. I was literally messing around with the model and I thought, hey, it'll be a good idea to show this to all the different industries. And then, of course, if you're wondering where it falls in your design workflow, of course, it's the first step in terms of a conceptual design, getting you off the ground and up and running. But as you become more intuitive and more comfortable with using the software, it can actually become the final product of your design. Today, of course, we're going to be focusing on the presentation part of it, and you're going to see how easy it is. All right, so the capability snapshots. This is just some of the features that stand out for me. The model builder is absolutely brilliant. If you don't know how to use it, again, my contacts will be at the end. Our YouTube channel is on there. Please go and have a look at the webinars that I've done. It's so simple and it's so cool, right? It's built on a gaming engine, so fellow gamers out there or people that like all of the AIs and fancy graphics, this is the tool for you, right? It's compatible with multiple file formats. Like I said, you can bring in shape, STF, those are GIS. You can link in Revit, Inventor, parametric models, you name it. We've done some really wide scale designs on this, and it works really nicely. Interoperability, more or less related to the same thing. You can do road design, intersection alternatives, roundabouts. It's got AASHTO criteria built in. LRFD, that's for bridges, all of those type of things, all built in. Point clouds, you can import them in, create watershed analysis. The list goes on, but these are just some of them that actually stand out. And today we're going to be locking in that one, so state-of-the-art presentations and proposals. So if you have the architecture, engineering, and construction collection, you actually have access to all of these tools that you're seeing on the screen. I hope you're utilizing those that are relevant to your industries. Like I said, you have it, so why not use it? And if you haven't found Infraworks, that's where it is. It is a part of this collection. So if you don't have it on your desktop and you do have access to this, please install it. Go to the Autodesk virtual agent, which is called AVA for short. Alternatively, log into your Autodesk account and download it from there directly. Or make sure that the administrators for your software assigned you access for it. So that's a quick intro. Now we're going to dive into the actual fun part, which is presenting the designs brilliantly. So let's have a look. So the first step that I would do is set up or define bookmarks. Now, what are bookmarks? These are locations in your actual model that you will save to reference to very quickly, and it helps you structure a presentation around them. So I could call them key points, strategic points, key infrastructure, key elements that you would like to show in your presentation in order to get your design signed off or to get buy-in or engage in a conversation. So this is what you would use. So let's have a look at it, right? So as you can see, this is a model I created of here somewhere in Joburg, Sunning Hill. I dropped in some of my own things. So again, the model is not exact. You might see some things that look a bit funny, but I just wanted to portray the actual way of actually doing a presentation. So let's go to the bookmarks, right? So it's on the top. You can see my proposal number 1. I've already created some, but I'm going to show you how to create one so you know how to do it. So this is a site that I created. I dropped in the trees, I put in a coverage, and I put in a building. And what I want to do is, this is the actual proposed development area in this actual site that I'm working in. So I'm going to position the screen in a way that I like it. So I like that angle. And all I've got to do is click add. As you can see, it creates a snapshot there, right? And I can actually give this bookmark a title. So proposed development, and that's it. So what this means is, if I zoom out from my model or wherever I am in my model, if you got a huge model and you want to jump to a certain place, you click on there and you see you there. So these are some of I've created. I've got a drainage network. You can see it's below ground, which is really cool. For those people that don't know that you can do below subsurface or NGL. All right, so I'm just showing you there. That's for that road there in mention. You can see you've got my pipes and structures there. I've also dropped in a bridge. Okay, I've done a tunnel, which a lot of people have not seen, but it's built into Infraworks now. It's very simple. Here we go. We can have a peek through there. And of course, I've got a major intersection or interchange, whatever you want to call it, that we're going to be using. So those are the key bookmarks or the key locations that I'm going to be using in my presentation today. So you can see where bookmarks come into play. All right, so like I said, I'm also an industry professional that I work under pressure, and so I understand that sometimes you have to get things out really quick. The quickest way to do it for a presentation is to create snapshots of your model. So simply by capturing pictures, so we go to present and share, we drop down there and create snapshots. So if you want to just send some quick pictures in a prelim report or a feasibility report, you can capture these, you can adjust the pixels or the resolution you'd like. I normally just use the viewport resolution. It's quicker, it looks quite decent. But again, you can, if you want 1080, you can type it in. And what we're going to do is save it. Okay, so just going to drop it to my desktop so we can find it quickly. Here we go, and save. Now, this gives you the flexibility of portraying the design. And look, this is the snapshot created. So you don't have to go and snip screen and print screen and all of these other things that we used to do. It's built in, and you can get a very good high-res image from here. Take a snapshot of the main points, put it into your reports, and you got a good, decent proposal ahead of you. So that's the quickest way. Okay. Now, if you want to go in a much more fancier way, which I do recommend if you have time, because it's absolutely worth it if you presenting to people in the room with you or abroad or wherever you're working remotely, it's quite nice for them to actually see the visually rich model. Because let's face it, as a designer, we are technical and we understand the components that go behind it, but most of the people that are providing the capital or the sign-off, they're not necessarily technical. They just want to see what their money is going to be investing in, and they want to see more or less what product or what the end model is going to look like. So this is where we're going to use the bookmarks to actually structure it. So we're going to go to something called the storyboard creator, right? As you can see, we got a new one, and it's for my proposal 1. And we've got a button called add a new animation. So it's currently set to crane. If you want to preview what it is, this is what it's going to do. It's going to lift up, right? You can customize it according to the height in the back. If you change it to down, this is what it's going to do. Okay. It's nice to have 2 screens for this, so the menu doesn't take up much of your screen, but I'm happy with the up. I can change the duration, so the panning or the resolution can change. So that's my first keyframe, as you can see on the left. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to the development, right? So again, let's have a look at what type of animations are in here, right? You've got a camera path, we're going to look at that later, but these are all pre-built in, right? You'll have to play around with them. This is the orbit one. So I'm dropping the orbits here. I'm happy with that. I can change the angle if I like, but let's just leave it, right? Then let's go to the roadway. So this is the roadway that I'm creating. You can see I put a nice grass median in the center. And what I'm going to do is let's use a different one. Maybe let's look around. Let's go for look around, right? So how this is, you can click preview. It's turning to the left. Now, I don't really want it to look that way. I want it to turn to the right. So let's go play. That looks okay, but it's going off into the distance there, right? So let's change the angle. So about 20 degrees should be okay. Maybe 15, 20 is a bit much, but let's leave it. Yeah, that's actually quite fine. It takes me to a good side of the trees that I dropped in with Infraworks, and I've got the tunnel. Speaking of the tunnel, let's go to that bookmark. So I'm just going to pan out a bit so you can see it quite nicely. Here we go. And I'm going to drop in another keyframe, right? let's use the orbit. So again, that's currently how it's going to be looking, but I think it'll be quite cool to do a 360. So let's change this to actually 360 degrees. So it's going to be a full revolution, basically. Click play, and it's going to be like that. But that's a bit too fast, right? People are going to probably get dizzy. And this is where the duration comes in. So about maybe, yeah, 16 is a bit much, but let's have a look at how it looks. Hit preview, and you can see now the speed looks pretty decent. And that's how it's going to actually look in my presentation. All right, so it's going to do a full 360. You got a nice snapshot of whatever's around it, and it's going to come back to the camera or the bookmark that I've set up. Okay, so let's go to another one. Let's do the bridge, right? Because that's on the way. Again, let's try and position this at quite a nice angle. So you will have to pan a bit, zoom a bit, try and get something. I'm sure you guys are way more creative than I am. Again, don't judge my presentation. The model, like I said, it was a quick fix. I was messing around, but this will actually give you a good understanding of what you can do with the actual presentation. So again, if you want to go really full in depth with it, you can set up multiple angles, multiple cameras and stuff like that. I like this angle, so again, add the crane. The orbit, the look around, those are the most common ones used because they're quite easy, right? So here we are, we've got that. I like that, so I'm gonna keep it. And then let's see, what do we have left? The intersection. Okay, let's jump to the intersection, right? So we've got the intersection here. It's an add grade intersection, so there's no bridge. But what happens if you have a feature that you didn't do a bookmark for, or you kind of forgot, and you just still want to capture it? This is where fly-throughs come into play. So if you don't want to like jump from point to point, you can create a fly-through path. So what I mean by that is, let me snap back to the bridge. So I'm going to pan here. I'm going to go to the camera view, wrong one. Yeah, camera part, and I'm going to add a camera part. So it captures a keyframe at the bridge where we're looking now. And now I'm going to start panning. So I pan, and there's a roundabout that I kind of forgot to do a bookmark for. So I want the camera part to end at the roundabout, and that's exactly how it's going to look. So this is how fly-throughs are actually generated, right? So you can pan and go to the next element, and it will capture a fly-through for it. So I'm happy with that. Now that I've captured the roundabout that I've created in Infraworks, I am going to go to the bookmark, right? So a common thing, and I've done this in this video, that people make a mistake is, if you jump to a bookmark, if you create a camera part and you just go to bookmarks here and you go to major intersection, it is not going to capture the fly through. You will have to pan with it, like how we've done for the roundabout. Okay, so no matter what view you get here, and if I go and add a keyframe there, it's not going to pick it up. If I click play, can you see it's still stuck at the roundabout? So please, you have to pan through to the next one and drop a keyframe if you want to create a fly through from place to place or area to area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pan here, right? Let's just rotate this a bit. Yeah. Okay, should be on the left. Here we go. And I am going to drop in an animation here. I'm going to use I think an orbit would be quite nice for something this wide. So let's drop in an orbit. Again, I'm going to do a 360 here. Not 4, sorry, typo. 360. And we're going to leave it like that. Click play, and it's going to be, again, it's quite fast. I'm going to increase the duration. 9, yeah, that's a bit okay. I'm just going to leave it like that. And I've come to the end of the model that I want to show, or the key elements. So what you can do from here is you can literally preview the entire video, okay, or the entire presentation. You can click play there, and this is how it's going to look from start. So we started there, we did the site development, we came to the road that leads up to the tunnel, we orbited the tunnel, right? Okay, Again, you can always go back and edit this if you don't like what you see, right? So that's a tunnel. There's a quick orbit there. From here, we went to the bridge. We craned up. We flew through to the roundabout. And then from there, we jumped to the actual intersection, and we did a quick 360. So you can see it's quite easy. If you're happy with this, you can export it to Windows, to a video format that you would like. So if you click that button there, drag it up a bit, you can see the different formats. Windows WMV is the most common one we use. AVI is a bit intensive, so we can use whatever we'd like. We can also export a certain section. You can create the video and we'll export it to MP4, right? So I'll just stop it here. So that's how easy it is, and it looks pretty decent, right? I mean, I wasn't even paying attention like to actual fine details that you would normally do, but this looks really nice, even though it's just off the bat like that. So the next thing we can actually look at is adding titles and captions. This is what makes the presentation stand out. Okay, so you've got an option to add titles and captions. They're a bit different. Titles will be main headings, of course. Captions will be maybe fine details that you would want to add. So let's have a look at that. We will do it based on the presentation we created now. So if we go to the starting of it, remember this was the crane up for the development. Now what I want to do is I want to tell the person watching, or the people or the audience that I'm presenting to, what exactly this is, and I'm going to add a title. So as you can see, you can adjust the height of the font, right, or the size of the font. You can select, it's like Microsoft Word, whatever type of font you'd like. I'm going to leave it as Verdana for now. You can make it bold, italic, underline, whatever. And I'm just going to type in site overview so they know that, okay, this is more or less what we're looking at. And the transparency, this is where you can fade transitions. If it's left to 0, this is how the preview is going to look. You see it just like created a dark flash. You can, of course, change the color. But if you make it 100% transparent, all you're going to do is see the text, which looks much better. Alternatively, if you get your transition right or your transparency right, it looks really nice if you get the right shade of gray. Okay, so of course you can position the text wherever you'd like. Again, the scale, or if you've got XY coordinates, which is really, really detailed. You can see now I moved it from the center to the actual top of the screen. Okay, so let's do another one. All right, this will work in the same manner for each one. So I didn't do all of them, right? So let's go and add a caption. The other one was a title. Let's look at a caption. So again, we can adjust the size of the captions are normally smaller. So I think maybe 10 will work. Yeah, 10 will be fine. You can type in what your caption. So I'm going to say road with grass median. Okay. Again, you can be more descriptive, right? That's how it's going to look. I put the transparency to 100%, so we won't get that there. In terms of the fade, this is how you want the transition of the text to come in and go out. So let's say it'll fade over a 5-second period and it'll fade out more or less like 1.5 seconds. It's okay. Again, you will play around with this to see what mix fits you, and that's how it's going to look. But if you look here, it's at the wrong place. It's for the tunnel. So if you do have this does happen, don't freak. We can actually move it to the actual correct keyframe. Now if you click play, it's in the correct position. So I get a lot of WhatsApps and LinkedIn's about that. So you can fix it quite easily. I'm going to adjust the text to be more on the top, actually center left, right? If I click play, it sits in a really nice position for that. And this is the same procedure you will add for each keyframe that you would need. Again, if you export the video, I'll just play a little bit so you can see how the text looks in the video, right? You can adjust the frames. You can go up to, I don't know how many frames exactly. I'm just gonna drop it to 20. I'm gonna use my resolution. Everything is fine. Again, if you want to export a certain section, you can. I'm gonna just export the entire thing very quickly. Of course, the bigger your model, the longer this process will take, and number of keyframes, the text you add, the angles, the cameras. So it can get a bit big in terms of processing time. So here we are. it's recorded. Let me just open my Windows video player, and here we are. So this is how it looks, and it's going to look something like this. I just dropped the resolution so we can have a quick video, but again, it'll carry on, it'll show you the entire video, and you can go on previewing it as you like. If you dropped in text wherever you want to, this is where it will be. So I'm just going to stop it here, and that's how it's going to be previewed. Pretty easy so far, right? I hope you can see how much better it looks. It's so much fun also, right? For the infrastructure guys, so guys doing rail and roads, I've got a really cool thing to show you. It's a drive-through function using the storyboard. So again, it works for rail and for roads. So you can apply it really, really beautifully. I've done it and it works, right? So let's have a look. So let's say this roadway, I want to drive through it to show the guys, hey, listen, this is more or less the path that the road's going to take. You can see all my intelligent data is on the right. We come back to the presentation that we did. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new storyboard. So let's start from scratch. Okay. So we're going to create new. You can see it's a new storyboard. It's blank on the left. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go there and I'm going to say create from component roads, which is your detail road. So I select the road. I can adjust the camera offset position, the target position, depending on what type of finish you're looking for. I think 3 will work. I'm just going to use 3, right? So here we are. The speed, you can set it. I'm going to go for like 100 Ks. Should look fine. If you click preview, that's going to be the height above the road. So 3 looks pretty decent for this type of scenario. And I'm going to click create. So once I click create, on the left-hand side, you will see that the keyframes have been generated automatically. And if I click play, this is how it's going to look. Now, how cool is this? It actually picks up the drainage points I have at the center of the median, right? And you can go, it will drive through. You can see my light posts. Again, I've inserted all of these, hey? The trees on your left. We can drive through the tunnel. Let's hope our head doesn't hit. Yes, okay, we made it, right? So the 3 worked. As you can see, we drive through the tunnel. It changes from barrier. It comes back to the grass median. We're coming up to the bridge now. Again, you can add the captions to this, right? You can see we got our retainer in the center, and I want to stop at the roundabout. So you can see the video will be pretty cool, pretty awesome. You can export it to a video and you can share it. Okay, so that wraps up in terms of all the functionalities that you would use. And if you combine them in a decent manner, a lot of you I know would do way better presentations than I have done here today. But I just want to show you a quick, simple, completed presentation. So I took that model, I add in captions, and I put in some extra camera views so you can see what we're looking at. So here we are. We start off at the proposed site development. We turn to the right when we're going to go towards, I think, the road, right? So you can see I've highlighted that this is the development. I'm going to just fly past the building. So it looks quite nice. And I'm going to come to the actual first curve. Again, if you have a super elevated curve, it's going to look really awesome, right? So you can actually pause. So if you increase your duration, you can actually talk at a certain element, which is quite nice. Or you can insert a caption. And we're going to just change the angle. We're going to come up and we're going to go Superman here. Here we go. And we're going to fly through to the tunnel. We're going to change the perspective, the angle. Again, these are all the functions I've already showed you previously. We're going to fly. But here's a bonus. I'm going to go below ground. So drainage, you can actually show your drainage or under below ground services. So that's my drainage. Let me zoom back out, come back up. Right, I'm going to fly towards my bridge. That's the next one. Again, the caption or the title falls in perfectly. I can just pan around here. And then from here, I think I flew to the roundabout. Here we are. Again, we're highlighting all the key elements. We do a quick swivel around, tell them that it's a roundabout if they don't know it's a roundabout. Maybe they think it's a UFO landing strip, I don't know. But We come here, and then of course we come to the last element, which is the interchange, and of course the 360 that we inserted previously. We do a quick 360 and at grade intersection, and we come to the end of our presentation. So you see, it looks quite decent, right, compared to what we're currently doing. Again, I hope that you have a lot of fun with this, but that's what I wanted to show you in a quick manner. Like I said, this was a more fun webinar than what we normally have, because it's normally all detailed stuff. Again, you can link it with your detailed specs, but just see the power that you have actually for presentations. So let's wrap things up on this Friday, right? So conclusion, those are the snapshots functions on your right hand side. That's a presentation all done with Infraworks. The first thing you would do is to create or define your bookmark positions in your model. So all your key elements or points of interest that you would want to highlight or showcase in your presentation, set those up first. You can't go wrong after that, okay? If you do forget, you can capture them with the fly through. And the next thing for infrastructure, if you want to fly through a rail or a roadway, just create a component road, snap your camera, adjust your vertical or your horizontal offsets, create your speed or add your speed, and from there you can actually fly through your road in a good presentation. Again, you can add captions. I've showed you how to do that. And then of course, coming to that, you use the pre-built animations, which are pretty sick in my opinion, to portray a good infrastructure project or any project. You can be in mining, civil infrastructure, architecture, plant, process plant. We've done really, really cool models. So you can utilize them and show them off, if I could use that word. And then of course, export it to a video. If you want to share it, post it, drop it into a PowerPoint with your model snapshots, you are free to do so, like what I've done here today. So yeah, that's my quick presentation. I hope you found it fun. Just before I say goodbye to you all, we can connect. So in terms of Baker Baines, you can follow us on LinkedIn. If you just search, everyone just searches, right? But these are all our handles that you would like to do. And of course, if you'd like to connect with me, Shuaib, that's my LinkedIn. Feel free. You can also just search my name, it'll pop up. If you want me to cover any interesting topics or things that you're struggling with, please reach out. You can DM me on LinkedIn. Most of you have my WhatsApp. Drop me a message and we can make some future topics. And of course, if you create some really kick-ass presentations, please share them with me. I would love to see them. I want to see what you guys are up to out there. And yeah, if you're around, we can pop in for a coffee, or we can actually help you design a better world. So that's it for today. I hope you had, I hope this was fun. It was definitely fun for me. Good luck for the rest of the day. Have an awesome Friday. And yeah, I will catch you guys again soon. So take care and have a good day.